Houston, we have landed KD, and now Houston, they're going to be a problem. Let's take a look back at all the times he flipped the NBA on its head. 4th of July 2016, KD announced he was heading to the Bay. Golden State went on to dominate, winning back-to-back titles and reaching 3 straight finals. Then, June 30th, 2019, KD and Kyrie teamed up in Brooklyn. James Harden joined the next season. Championships abound. Right now, didn't go so well. Nets never even made it to the conference finals. Then, February 9th, 2023, KD traded to the Suns midseason. They reached the semis. Then they added Bradley Beal that summer. Championships about. No, that didn't work either. They never made it out of the first round. And then yesterday, he was traded to the Rockets. Durant averaged 25 a game for 4 teams, already an NBA record. He's looking to make it 5. Here's the easy money sniper's first reaction to hearing the news.
Anything can happen at Fanatics Fest, like me getting traded. But being a part of the Houston Rockets, I'm looking forward to it. Crazy last couple of weeks, but I'm glad it's over with.
And you knew before, right?
I had an idea, but I didn't know exactly when it was going to happen. You know, when people could just hang your career in a balance like that and just choose what they want to do with your career is a nerve-wracking feeling, but being able to kind of dictate what you want to do and then being with a team that values you, and I'm looking forward to it.
Did you have a hand in this?
Most definitely, yeah. I mean, they asked me where I wanted to go. Some of my destinations, I gave it to them, and here we are.
How dangerous are the Rockets going to be now?
Won 50-plus games last year, played a great season. But all this stuff takes time and work and effort and execution, so we'll see what happens.
He's being humble. 50-plus games last year, and now they got him. Brian Windhorst and Danny Green back with us. Wendy, it's been a lot of scuttlebutt around KD for weeks. Now the deal finally happened. What led to the Rockets being able to be the landing spot for Kevin Durant?
Yeah, I think at the outset of this, they were going to be very cautious because Kevin Durant is on a different age timeline than the rest of their team, and they didn't want to, really exhaust their resources and their assets to get a player that wasn't on the same timeline. But as this process unfolded, the teams that were not on Kevin Durant's list, backed away. Durant was able to control what happened in his career. And at the end, there was really only 2 teams in the bidding, which was Miami and Houston. And that did not lead to a bidding war. Instead, the price fell. It fell to a spot where Houston was comfortable. They gave up 2 starter quality players and a lottery pick. That was not nothing, but they were able to retain some of their very valued young players and some of their valued draft picks going forward, which gives them an opportunity to either develop those players or use those pieces in a large trade going forward. So I think Houston basically thought the price was in a great spot for them and really gives them the ability to hedge going different ways while welcoming in a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Phoenix did not seem to have a lot of leverage, and Houston worked that to a T. Danny, with KD now, what else does Houston need to add to become true championship contenders?
I just think they need to add some depth. They need some guys that can come off the bench, some 3-and-D guys that can defend. If you lose Dillon Brooks, you lose a lot of locker room leadership. You lose a little edge and defensive capability, so you need to find some defenders. And you probably need to get a backup point guard. It's imperative they bring back Fred VanVleet. They need him. He needs his leadership. I know they have a team option with that, so they got to make sure they bring him back. But they need some other guys that can stretch the floor, that can shoot, because that was one of their weaknesses. They weren't able to shoot from the 3 consistent enough. They have, Steven Adams and Sengun inside, so they can out-rebound teams, but they need to find some shooting and some defense with adding, to make it easier for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, KD, he's great mid-range game. Threes, he can hit them. Not really totally his game, but still he can get it done. They can bring in some more maybe to help him out. Now, plenty of folks reacting on social media yesterday, including another big star who might be traded, Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Bucks. At least there's been a lot of talk about whether or not he might end up somewhere. That was his response. Shams reported in May that Giannis is open to considering playing for a new team for the first time in his career. So back to Houston. Wendy, how does the Durant trade impact what might happen next in terms of players that might be getting moved or teams who may be active?
Yeah, so I would keep an eye with the draft now coming up in 2 days. There's 3 first-round draft picks, Ryan, that have already been traded. And there's several more that could be on the block. The Toronto Raptors have been looking to use the number 9 pick to upgrade their roster in the short term. They haven't been able to find a deal for that yet, but I expect them to continue to be active. And a lot of teams are keeping an eye on the Boston Celtics. With Jason Tatum out for next season, or at least a big chunk of next season, and a potentially historically high payroll, there's been some sense that the Celtics might look to offload some salary between now and the start of the new league year on June 30th. So keep an eye on the Celtics over the next few days to see if they make a move like that that could, offload some of that, huge luxury tax bill that they're facing without Jason Tatum next season.
I love it when you got a draft coming up in a couple of days and there could be a lot of moves. Danny, what contender do you expect to be the most active in trying to get better for next season?
I think that Giannis' tweet might have been a spell check. I think he meant to say, uh-oh. But I think, his team, I think Milwaukee could turn around. The East is wide open. I think Milwaukee's a team. I think Cleveland's a team, Philly. But in the West, I'm looking at the Lakers. Obviously, Minnesota was close, too. They're a team that could get active. I feel like even though these teams lost, and they lost in the first round, Minnesota lost in the Western Conference Finals, they seem to think that they're like one piece away. All they need is a center or a big or a couple centers and bigs and some depth. They can make some things happen. They already have a good core. They have greatness with LeBron and Luka, and, of course, Austin Reeves. That big three, they're really consistent. If they stay consistent and stay healthy, they have a really good chance and always in contention. But they just need some depth. So I'm looking at the Lakers making some moves, and obviously those other teams. And in the East, is wide open. I think Milwaukee could be a team too, even though I think he meant uh-oh. But they're a team that could turn it around because the East is wide open.
I thought he was really just saying, oh. So it really is uh-oh.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Guys, thanks, Danny. Thank you so much. Wendy, we'll be back with you in a bit.
This move put Houston in the conversation for title contenders next season.
It definitely puts him up near the top, right? You just want to see how it looks early on. But him being in a familiar place with a familiar coach already gives him the advantage, right? He's been with Epe Udo. He's been with him in Brooklyn. He's been with him in the USA. So he has that familiarity. So as a player of his stature, like just going into a situation where it's going to be a lot of the same what you're used to, that's a big thing, right? I think that he's going to help make that push. He's going to help grow the younger players. He's just going to bring some, more excitement into that team. Like they were a good team last year, but obviously nobody had them winning. Now with the addition of Kevin Durant and not really losing most of their core pieces, being able to go forward, that automatically put them as one of the best teams in the West.
Okay, so where would you put them exactly? Because we know that the Western Conference is the toughest conference out of the two. So where would you think that this puts Houston?
Without them, they was already a 2 seed. Right. Obviously, you got to give the respect to OKC for winning the championship. So I'll leave them as a 2 seed next year. You really have to wait and see how the rest of the moves that are being made in the summer plays out. But right as we sit today, I would leave them as a 2 seed.
All right, we'll see what they're able to do with KD next season. Keith, thank you.
NBA champion's been crowned. Now NBA execs, you got 2 days until the draft. No rest for the weary. But if you're Dallas, your job's easy. Just pick Cooper Flagg. The pride of Newport, Maine, is expected to be the first pick in the draft going to the Mavs. Following a stellar season at Duke as a freshman, 19 points per game, made it to the Final Four, National Player of the Year. But you know what? Get to know him better. Here's Cooper Flagg on Cooper Flagg.
Flagg on the attack, on the slam! A dunk of a lifetime!
I'm a pretty versatile player, can do a lot of things. I feel like my biggest strength is able to impact the game in a lot of different ways.
He leads Duke in points, assists, steals, blocks, as well as rebounds.
I have a twin brother, Ace. I have another older brother named Hunter. We would be in the driveway all the time, playing one-on-one. More times than not, it ended in a fist fight. But yeah, we were always competing, playing against each other, pushing each other to be better. My mom was a 1,000-point scorer in high school. We used to play one-on-one all the time in the driveway. She used to be bigger than me back then when we would play. She used to beat me all the time, and then she ended up getting hurt in our last ever game we played against each other, and I had never beat her before that, and I was up by 1. Technically, I won.
Cooper Flagg had a historic rookie season, becoming just the 4th freshman to win the Wooden Award and the first since Zion Williamson. Now, if he goes number 1 on Wednesday, he'll join Zion and Anthony Davis as the only freshman to win the award and to be taken first overall. Christine and Ryan back. Well, for the man who goes by 3 letters, SGA, we got his top 3 moments to cap off his MVP run. After a devastating Game 1 loss, Thunder bounced back in Game 2 to tie the series in large part to SGA's 34, 4 steals, 8 assists, became the 4th player to record over 30 points and 3 steals in consecutive games of a single finals. And then Game 4, he led the Thunder to a double-digit comeback, dropping 15 in the 4th, including 11 of his team's 12 points in the last 3 minutes, the most by a player in the final 3 minutes of a finals win in the last 50 years. And then last night, Game 7, dropped 29 and a playoff high 12 assists, becoming the 5th player with at least 20 points, 10 assists in a finals Game 7, joining LeBron, James Worthy, Walt Frazier, and Jerry West, elite company.
And it is now time for the final 3 outfits of the NBA season because the NBA season is now over, but we're going to look at some finals looks and we're going to crown an MVP, okay? We're going to start with Hallie, who of course we know now has a torn Achilles, unfortunately, but he was looking good before the game.
He's dapper. He's dapper. I like the high-waisted pants. The bag works. I couldn't pull this off, but this works.
Would you
I'll carry a bag
do you know
like
what this
that.
is? It's a Speedy Louis Vuitton Speedy.
It's what we call a merce. And I would wear it in certain circumstances, like when no one's looking at me.
I don't think that's a merce. I think that's an actual purse. But he looks good. Hallie also, his stylist recently talked about how he was trying to change the game a little bit.
Okay.
J-Dub.
I'm just trying to understand, what is this?
That's a bag.
Can you help me?
It's a purse.
That's a what?
It's a fur bag.
I don't really have a comment on that. I thought it was a stuffy.
How do you feel about the jeans?
I like that. Well, I want them to go all the way down. I don't know if I'm the guy to be asking about this.
I want them to go all the way down is the funniest thing ever.
I'm still caught on the stuffy.
That's what you're going to call it? Okay, finally, let's go with SGA. This is who J-Dub said would be his MVP just because he wins everything. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's smooth. The sneaks are fire.
Look at his jeans, or look at his pants, though. You see this little crossover?
I like the crossover pants. I don't know how you take them off. That's my only issue.
All right.
Like, how do you go to the bathroom? Is that inappropriate? I don't know.
He's the MVP.
I'm asking.
That is a weird question.
It is inappropriate?